Hi, welcome to Solid Rock Christian Assembly. My name is Hina, where our vision is to build a community-oriented, multicultural church that is solid in the Word and in the practice of our faith. We're here to dig into the Word, and we invite you to join us and to grow with us at The Rock.
Solid Rock welcomes you.
I'd like to use as a subject today, the subject is continuing the, basically waking up the sleeping giant. And with that, I'd like to bring this topic, waking up the family. Waking up or awaken the family, or waking up the family. The family is important to God. Extremely important. Just last night I was at a function. Dr. Charles McVitie, he's the president of Canada Christian College. He had his 60th birthday last night. So while we were there, the premier's wife and all his children were present, and pretty much almost half of the Ontario government cabinet were there, including the Minister of Finance and the former opposition leader Stockwell Day, people coming out of places from Korea and all over the world, flying in from Israel just to honor him on his birthday. And you look at it and you say to yourself, this is an impressive crowd of individuals who would come here to honor one person's life. Not only that, but the thing that really resonated with me, I mean, putting aside all of the so-called popular individuals that were present, what really impressed me is it's the testimonies from his family. His son, Ryan McVitie, who is also the vice president of the school, said, "Dad, you did some things in my life. When I was younger," he said, I resented it. I resented the fact. He said, I had a drug problem. And then someone from the Toronto Sun was there, and they said to him, please do not put that in there. Just please get the context. He said, I have a drug problem. My whole family, we have a drug problem. Yeah. My dad drugged me to school. My dad drugged me to church. He drugged me to Sunday school. He drugged me everywhere. He drugged me in the pathway of righteousness and all of that. He said, I did not appreciate that in the beginning. But now I look back, and Dad, I really appreciated it. He said, Dad, your dad was a pastor, just like how my dad is a pastor. And then he said, Dad, your dad's dad was a pastor, and your dad's was a pastor, and we go back many, many generations as it relates to pastoral influence. And the thing that really impressed me in the whole thing is the ability to transmit the things of God from one generation to another. It becomes this what do you call this race where you have four people running? Relay. This relay in life where one individual would run and then they would pass it on to the next and to the next and to the next. And there was this continuous flow of godliness coming down through that family. I looked at it and I said, wow. Beyond everything else, beyond the glamour, beyond all of the formalities and all the distinguished individuals present there, the thing that really resonated with me is like, wow, how do you do that? How do you transmit godliness to the next generation? The family is vital. The family is oh so important. Very, very important, the family. And what is happening today is that the enemy knows that. By the enemy, if the devil knows that, The devil knows the importance of the family, and as a result, the devil is unleashing this weaponry from his so-called chest of trickery. He's coming around and he's trying to oppress, he's trying to torment, he's trying to lead our family down destructive pathways. And that's the trick of the enemy, because he knows if the family is destroyed, society is destroyed. Without the family, there is no way we can ever develop. I know our government sometimes try to become the superintendent as it relates to the family, but no government can ever love like a mom. No government can ever love like a dad. No government can ever love like parents, because government is basically a system. Our Children's Aid Society, without respect to them and the roles that they play, they can never in any way match up to that of a family. We recognize that sometimes there are destructive practices and interventions are necessary, but ultimately the Children's Aid Society may be able to prescribe legality, but they will never be able to prescribe love. Because when it's not yours, it's very hard to appropriately love. And today we can walk along the street, we can see the suffering, the bleeding, and the dying, and it's easy to pass by. You know why it's easy to pass by? It's not our family. It's the same thing. We can be on the road and then hear that there was a terrible accident on the 401, and maybe a helicopter came there and picked up the person, rushed that person to some sort of trauma hospital. And then at the same time, you know what our problem really is? Goodness, why did this have to happen while I'm driving? The inconvenience of traffic coming to a halt or slowing down. That's our expression, because we are so isolated from that. But if somehow in the midst of all of that you discover that it was your family member that was rushed to that hospital, all of a sudden your perspective would change instantaneously. Families are, when it comes to family, it is a different ball game. You may hear about people strung out on drugs, alcohol, people who are promiscuous and rebellious and disobedient and whatever, and you probably say something is wrong with this society. But when it comes and hit home, all of a sudden you panic, fear, a dreadness, a weight, all kinds of emotion just overcloud your mind, because guess what? It's my family. You'll go there and you're trained in medicine. You're trained probably as a physician, a doctor, or a nurse, and then all of a sudden, it's your child that's there. You've comforted a lot of people. You've given them guidance. You've even carried out surgical work and all of that. But then all of a sudden, guess what? It's your family. And somehow, that stable hand that you possess, you can't seem to find it. Because the emotion starts to have all kinds of impact on you. It's family. These are the things we'll do for family. We will get up, and mothers will sacrifice their meals. Mothers will give to them, and sometimes kids are like, Mom doesn't even eat. Mom is as hungry as ever. But because there is a lack, Mom has this tendency, you eat, I'll survive somehow. Dads, they go out there and they work tirelessly. Both of them combine, and they're constantly making sacrifices. They could have been better off, but they want to make sure you're good. As a matter of fact, sometimes they go to extreme. Poor people buy their kids Nike and Air Jordans. Goodness, don't buy them that. Go buy them something cheaper. But nonetheless, we go out there and we buy them all kinds of things we would not even wear. because it's our family. Now that's spoiling. I'm not for that part of it. But the point I'm making is that we make sacrifices for family. We do, because families are important. And the enemy recognized that. And as a result of that, guess what the enemy does? He slide his cunning, awful ways, and he slither through the family. And then he creates a divide. I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, God designed the family. The family is the foundation of our society. And Satan is out to destroy this foundation. God, when it comes to the family was God's idea. God brought the family into the existence from the very beginning of his creation. The family came into existence before there was ever a church. The family came into existence before there was ever a state or any kind of, nation or anything of that sort. The family came into existence before we knew of China or India or Israel or any long-standing culture of the world. One of the first things God said in his creation, God said here, it is not good for man to be alone. And so God created a woman. And Pastor Layton is best at describing what a woman is when the man look at it, the man said, whoa. And then, wow, man. And he said, what should I call her? But then all of a sudden, that initial reaction, whoa. Yeah, that's it. She's called her, whoa, man. Yeah, that's what happened. Some of you who are married here today, when you saw her, and even though you're there with your friends and you see her walking across there, whoa, man. Dr. McVitie said, I saw my wife, she was 10, and I was 14, and I started looking at that little girl. Then he said, I got enough boldness that when she was 13, I was now 17. I called the phone a few times. The wife said, yeah, he called a few times, asking me out. I was only 13. My dad finally wondered who was calling, and my dad picked up the phone and said, hey, you, she's only 13. Get lost. And he said for 8 years, he disappeared. He said he was so brokenhearted and devastated, he never asked another girl out for 8 years. He just stayed there, nobody. And then one day, he said, I was at my church. And this girl I hadn't seen for years just showed up at my church and sat in front of me. Wow. He said, she's back. He went and he conjured up boldness again and he asked her out. And this time she said, yes, I guess. I saw one little kid there saying, how old was she then? I guess she's trying to get permission from her dad. This little girl, how old was she, Dad? I said, you better keep yourself quiet because that dad of yours is not going to give you any chance. He said, was she 18? I said, no. 13 plus 8 is 21. I said, oh. He said, yeah, I asked her out. And he said, I didn't hesitate. After 3 months, I engaged her. And after 6 months, I married her. 6 months, I guess, after the engagement. So I think it was a combination of 8 or 9 months in all. He said, wasted no time. But the issue when it comes to the family itself is that when you consider the family, if the family is strong, or if an individual has strong conviction, that individual usually joins force with another person with strong conviction, and they build a strong family. A strong family, or the strength of a community, will depend on the strength of the family. If the family is in a community, and this is what's happening today, there are so many broken pieces everywhere, and as a result of that, we're having a community in a mess. But if the families are strong, the communities will be strong. If the families are strong, then what? The nation will be strong. And if we have families strong in all the various nations, we will have a strong, godly world. And I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, it is so, so important that you recognize the attack of the enemy and do not allow yourself to be a victim in that area. Waking up the family. Waking up the family to the reality that there is an enemy that desires to destroy. We have our children someday and we look at them and they're so cute. Like those two there. Weren't they like smart looking and cute? But guess what? Just as how your my Anthony and my Harmony on the treetop. That's a silly thing. Who would rock their child on a treetop? But most of these things doesn't seem to make sense. But anyway, but that's what it says. Rock my baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, and that's in a storm. Tell me how sensible that is. Jack and Jill went up on the hill. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came down after. Does that make sense? Yeah, Humpty Dumpty sat up on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together. How many of you know that these are emotionally destructive things? I almost cried over Humpty Dumpty as a kid. I saw him sitting there on the wall, and I thought to myself, what a cute Humpty Dumpty. He sat on the wall, that egg-shaped looking thing, two little dangling legs from the egg bottom. And I'm thinking to myself, look at him with all of that smile. And then all of a sudden, they say Humpty Dumpty fell. When I saw all the British soldiers gather with all those big red suits and those big black hats, I thought they could do anything. And then they said, all the king's horses. I see them gathering in the little book. How many of you ever read that little book? All the king's horses. I said, there they go. They're going to fix Humpty. All the king's men. And then when I read, couldn't put Humpty together again. How do you expect your children to sleep after that? I'm being very serious. I had major issues with some of these things. Romeo and Juliet, they just killed themselves. Yeah, isn't that romantic? London Bridge is falling down, My Fair Lady. I mean, tell me, there's nothing positive out there. The cow jumped over the moon, the little dog laughed. Never mind, let me just leave all of that alone. The focus here is on the family. But the family, the strength of the family is so, so vital. It is so important that we recognize the plan and the attacks of the enemy to intervene and to destroy our family. The enemy is at work because he knows if we grab a hold of the family. You know what family does? When things are not right, it's so, so hard to concentrate. If my wife is not happy, and I'm supposed to carry out certain kinds of function, you think it's easy? No, it's not easy. Because, it's your family, your close family, not happy with you for whatever the reasons may be. Worse, if you're at fault. It distracts takes away from our effectiveness, takes away from our efficiency. It absorbs so much emotional energy, and it causes confusion and all of that. Yes, I may be able to focus when it comes to certain things, but there are certain times in life where you're given certain tasks. And I've done a lot of funerals. But boy, the day I had to do the funeral of my mother, I conjured up everything I could. I slept at a hotel that night to make sure I was able to focus. I stood there and I tried as much as possible, and I said, I need to focus on my mission at hand to present the gospel. The day I had to sit there and watch the reality of it, I couldn't finish the end part of it, and I felt like I was going to crack. And I said to a friend of mine, can you conclude this, a pastor friend? And he did. And then I said, can you excuse me a little bit? And I left the crowd there, and I went to my car, and I ended up winding the window up. Thank God it was tinted. And I just started bawling because this is family. Your composure, all of a sudden, all the things that you've learned, and all, when that reality strikes you, it's kind of like it's a different thing. And I'm saying to us today, God designed the family for a reason. Because if you can love someone so much, guess what? You'll protect them. If you can love someone so much, you'll fight for them. If you love someone so much, you'll take care of them. You'll nurture them. Government cannot manufacture love. Only the family can. And because God recognized how necessary the family is, God went like this and created different blocks of family. Because you need to understand that even though we go out there and talk about all the different races in the world, when God created in the beginning, God created only two humans, Adam and Eve. And so when you talk about races, there is only one race, and it's called the human race. But somewhere along the line, God recognized that as we continue to expand and expand, we will lose connectivity. We will lose heart for people and all of that. And so what God does, he creates tiny community or cell groups. They're called family. And in the cell group now, you in your small corner, you start to take care and say, these are my two or my three or my one or whatever the case is. I'm going to cover them and so forth. And so, you don't have to worry about their education. They'll be taken care of in this umbrella. Oh, in the area of godliness, if that's the case, that's going to be taken care of in this umbrella. And we just continue to shower. God did that in his own wisdom so we would never lose affection for our family or for a fellow man. And so whoever you are, there's a group of people out there that will give their life for you. There's a group of people out there that would, there are some people in my life, you ever touch them, and you're going to see a part of me, because guess what? There's just some people you don't touch. And if it's necessary for me to give my life for some people, I will. That's just the reality of it. It's called a family thing. And yes, in the process of discipline, it may not be all that wonderful at times. But guess what? The discipline takes place also because guess what? You want that person to do well. But here, in the process of doing all of that, you know what kept me? I remember my grandmother's word. She said this, Garth, if you want good in life, your nose, okay, sorry, I'll translate it after. If you want good, I'm going to translate it after. If you want good, your nose have to run. And you say, what does that mean? It means, look, if you desire to accomplish anything or to be anything in life, you must recognize that your nose must run. In other words, you're going to face conditions that are not ideal. And if you stay the course, you're going to be successful. Amen. This is it. Like King Lumiel, that's the thing my mother taught me. Yes. And here's the thing. This is what the family is all about. Families could do better. When my kids sometimes would watch the neighbors in Jaguar and different things like, and say, wow, Dad, look at that, look at they're driving. I'd say, well, you know what? I could drive it too if I wasn't putting you in private school. Yeah. Guess what? Not only that, if I wasn't saving for your school, putting aside for your, what is it called, the RESP, guess what? Then yeah, we could have a his and her Jaguar. Yeah, your mom could have one and I could have one. If we weren't putting you in sports activity everywhere, every Raptors ball, and driving you to Huntsville, Toronto, Brampton, Ajax, Aurelia, everywhere, Bradford, and all of these places, and cause our life to become your life, guess what? We could be doing that too. It's just the reality of priority. Guess what? That doesn't mean anything. You're willing to do whatever you need to do to ensure that there is an appropriate balance, because guess what? There is a thing called, what is it called? Have you been listening? Family. This is what we do for family. It makes all the difference in the world. And I want to say to you, because I need to wrap up in 5 minutes, I want to say to you today that the devil recognizes how potent, how powerful a family is. And so the devil is coming in to play havoc with the family. I want to say to you that when it comes to you, mother and father, the most important thing that you could ever do in life is to pass on godly values to your children. It's more important than buying them Barbie dolls. It's more important than giving them, Nike. More important than going out there and getting them all kinds of different brand name, Ralph Lauren, what are the things there, Timberlands and all of these different things out there. It's so important than giving them M&Ms. Is that what they call that one? Oh no, it's H&M. It's so important that we recognize that that is our most important calling in life. And what is happening today is that parents are fearful. Parents are moving away from the task. And you know what it does also? When parents are fearful to discipline and to nurture and to love and so forth, it makes it bad on the ones who are trying to do it. You know why it makes it bad on them? Because they're saying, Sonny, you don't need to go out there. Yeah, I know, I realize you're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I realize you have more harmonial fire than, a fire star and all of that. But here, there's a thing called self-control. Right. You don't need to be like them. But my friend is doing this. And that's so annoying. You go out there and say, well, Julie and Jenny and Jack and Joe and Jude and all of these different things. What's happening is that our culture has gone to a place where we've given up on morality as a culture. And God is saying, if it's not you that's going to turn the tide in the church, then who? You're going to have to take a stand to lovingly be able to transmit the things of God, so as to have a dynamic impact, because this world needs turning around. And the giant of the family, the enemy recognizes that there they are. The thing that's hindering us is family, because mother is passing on values to them, father is passing on values to them, and that's what's keeping me out. And he says, what I'll do, I'll come in and I'll create a division. I'll create confusion, because in doing so, all of a sudden it's going to change the landscape.
Thank you for joining us at The Rock. I hope you've been inspired and fired up to know that God will always be by your side. He will always provide the fire for you when you call on his name. We invite you to join us for our Sunday services, and you can visit our YouTube channel for more videos or our website, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We look forward to seeing you again at The Rock.